go. So it's time to start thinking about yourself. Hi, I'm Reverend Andrew Bozeman, and this is On the Wings of Your Mind. Today is Thursday, March 25th, 2021. So the question of the day, is it time to start thinking about yourself? Now, here's why I'm asking that question. I remember that before I reached the age of 50, the repetitive complaint against me was that I was thinking too much about myself and about my career and not about my relationship. The complaint was that I was ignoring the development of my relationships. Now, I recall being torn from one way to another, thinking how to find some equilibrium between a very demanding career and very demanding relationships. Unfortunately, my relationships ended up losing out, and I went through 4 divorces. Finally, when I got into my 50s as a single man, I began to realize some things. First of all, I'd been the victim of my own neglect. I had spent too much time spending too much time thinking about how to please other people in my life, and not enough time spending thinking about what was it that I really needed in my life to please me. I mean, I didn't even know what kind of furniture I liked because I always deferred to the desires of my mate. I didn't know what kind of clothes I liked to wear because I was always trying to fit in. I didn't know what kind of art I liked because I always went along with whoever was choosing the art. And in my 50s, when I finally took a really good look at myself, I realized that I was the product of the people around me. And hidden somewhere deep inside of all that was somebody called me. Please click on the thumbs up button if you haven't already done so. Please choose to subscribe. The thumbs up button is below. The subscribe button is down in the corner. And I'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, questions, and that's in the chat box on the right side of the screen. By the way, the chat box is there during the live performance, which is Thursday the 25th at 3 p.m. If you're not here at that time, then you're in replay mode, and so the comment section is below the video. So I was the product of other people. Ever since I was a child, I remember being driven by the need for other people to like me. Somehow I'd been conditioned into believing that pleasing others was the way for me to be accepted and to be liked. Pleasing others. According to Matthew Richard, who was a French molecular biologist who became a Buddhist monk, his position against selfishness, he stated, the ability to see beyond oneself is also a trait of evolved intelligence. That may well be true, evolved intelligence. But I tell you what, something else has to happen first. Looking out for others, it may be an evolved intelligence, but you gotta look out for you first. My concern is that in our social push to see beyond ourselves, we can often forget to look and see ourselves. So as I look back upon the relationships of my life, I realized that I never really answered one very important question, which was, what do I want? I now have come to the conclusion that unless I can truly answer that question, what do I want, I cannot honestly think about the needs of others, because I haven't cared for my own needs. You see, I fully agree that thinking only of yourself leads to self-deterioration and fear and isolation. But on the other hand, not thinking of yourself Excuse me. I forgot to turn off my phone. Okay. So where was I? Oh, so not thinking of yourself, they said, can lead to deterioration, fear, and isolation. And I'm saying, on the other hand, not thinking of yourself, not thinking of others, not thinking of yourself, can lead to confusion, resentment, disconnection, anger. Yeah, anger, because you're leaving you out of the picture. There's a reason that airlines instruct you to put the oxygen mask on yourself first in an emergency situation. Put it on yourself first before you begin to put the mask on other people. Why? Well, without protecting yourself first and making sure you have enough air to breathe, you are denying yourself the capability of helping others because you're going to suffocate. You're going to collapse before you can help others because you are not giving yourself air. No, I'm turning you off. Wow. Know thyself. Know thyself. Know thyself is a sacred and powerful instruction that seems to have been around for thousands of years, thousands of years. It appeared in what are known as the coffin text of ancient Egypt. So those are the texts that can be found inscribed on burial coffins of the Egyptian Middle Kingdom, and from as early as the year 2000 BC. But speculation is that those texts came from an earlier time. They came from the Old Kingdom, which was 3000 BC. 3000 BC. So this idea of knowing yourself, knowing who you are and what you want, has existed for over 5,000 years. Don't get me wrong, the needs of the world are important. But before you start trying to take care of the world's problems, you got to give yourself the time and the attention to learn what your problems are. You got to learn who you are. You got to learn what it is you want. You got to learn what it is that's going to please you. What is it is going to satisfy your needs. It's only then that you can give yourself the opportunity to become a whole person. Once you become whole, then you can find that it's a whole lot easier to help others. It's easier because then you don't have to help others out of guilt. You don't have to help others because you need to gain their approval. You don't have to help others because somebody told you so. No. You're helping others because you are secure enough within yourself to give. You can then begin to share love for others because you have plenty of love for yourself. And you can afford to begin sharing your love with others. And when you open yourself up to others, you also open yourself up to the power and love of infinite intelligence. But you must come first. Too many of us are afraid that the idea of thinking about yourself will make you appear selfish. You're afraid that thinking about yourself will make people dismiss you as he's just being selfish. What does it really mean, being selfish? Selfishness is when a person has an excessively high view of themselves, and then this makes them disproportionately pay attention to their own interest instead of the interest of others. For example, if you're at a gathering and you see that someone has baked your favorite pie, it would be selfish to take that pie over into a corner and keep it all to yourself when it was actually made to be enjoyed by the whole group. It would be selfish if you push your way to the front of the line because you need to be first and everybody else is less than you. That's selfish. Those are acts of greed and fear. Those are acts of selfishness. Being selfish means you think of yourself 100% of the time without thinking about anybody else or taking their needs into account. So if someone accuses you of being selfish, I'd say examine their motives. Are you actually being selfish? Take a step back. And if you are, it's possible, maybe you are actually being selfish. So when you take that step back and take a good look at yourself, check that out. If you're being selfish, then you need to do something about it. On the other hand, that is often used as a manipulative tool. So when somebody says you're being selfish, you should take a look and see what's actually going on. Are you actually being selfish, or are you just getting in the way of them having what they want and they're being selfish? It's a possibility. Be clear. Can't be clear unless you get to know yourself. Remember the words of Jean Cocteau, the French poet, playwright, novelist, designer, filmmaker, visual artist, and social critic. He said, an egoist is someone who insists on talking about themselves when you're dying to talk about yourself. That's an egoist, someone who insists on talking about themselves when you're dying to talk about yourself. I remember back in the 1980s, there was a popular minister and motivational speaker by the name of Reverend Terry Cole Whitaker. And I remember one of her books was entitled, What You Think of Me Is None of My Business, which I thought was a great title. What you think of me is none of my business. She was urging her followers to be true to themselves and to not let the opinions of other people overly concern them to the point of giving up on their dreams. What you think of me is none of my business. As spiritual warriors, I urge you to take the time and the attention to actually get to know thyself. Get to know yourself. And as you get to know yourself, you'll get stronger. I keep proclaiming that we as spiritual warriors need to combine our spiritual powers to elevate the consciousness of the planet. And we cannot be true spiritual warriors until we are secure within ourselves. It's only then that we have the true foundation of self-knowledge that gives us the strength and the power and the courage to accept the role of spiritual warriors who can actually transform the world. Of course, it's been said that the idea of changing the world is a crazy idea. Yeah, I know that. I've heard that. But I tell you this. There's the famous quote attributed to Steve Jobs of Apple Computer, the creator of Apple Computer, the creator of the iPhone, the creator of the iPad. He did a lot of changing, and he said, the people who are crazy enough to believe they can change the world are the ones that do. Know yourself, spiritual warriors. Know yourself. Remember that we are individualized expressions of infinite intelligence. Let us stay true to our purpose of connecting with and serving as conduits for the power of infinite intelligence. We are here to bring love, peace, and harmony into the world. And we can only stay true to our purpose if we stay true to ourselves. True to ourselves. True to ourselves. Our true divine selves. Let's close with prayer. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence, for bringing all of us together in this life so that we may become spiritual warriors and joining the work we have come here to do. Thank you, Infinite Intelligence, for bringing us into this space of awareness and a deeper understanding of ourselves and our relationship to life and infinite intelligence. Thank you for showing us who we really are. We open our minds and hearts to the truth of our being. We are the children of God. We are individualized expressions of infinite intelligence. And because we are part of the greater whole, we are beginning to understand our value to the continuity of life on this planet. As we become channels of your power, infinite intelligence, we can feel your presence within ourselves and within our lives more and more. We know that as we feel your presence within our lives every day, we will rise, because we are no longer cut off from you by being immersed in the darkness of fear, anger, and the pain of unforgiveness. So we're now restoring our connection through the grace of forgiveness, knowing that as we learn to forgive ourselves for the pain we have caused to ourselves, and as we learn to forgive those who have inflicted pain upon us, our lives will grow stronger, our connections will grow stronger, and our lives will grow happier and healthier and more prosperous. And for this we are truly grateful. As above, so below, as within, so without. And so it is. Amen. So, thank you for watching. Please remember to click on the thumbs up button below. If you haven't already done so, please choose to subscribe. This is Thursday, so have a great weekend. I really appreciate your watching. I encourage you to leave your thoughts and comments, which you can leave in the comment section below. In the meantime, I want you to have a great weekend. And remember that I am Reverend Andrew Bozeman. And this has been On the Wings of Your Mind.